Okay, welcome back guys. And so far we have discussed introduction of the TestNG. So what is TestNG and where it is beneficial to us? These are all the topics that we have discussed in the previous sessions. So today we are going to discuss something more interesting about the TestNG, and that is TestNG annotations. TestNG annotations. I have told in the previous session that what is meant by annotation, and I have shown you people that how annotations actually look like. Okay, so in today's session we are going to discuss all the annotations provided by the TestNG framework. Okay, so what is the first annotation that we are going to discuss? Okay, so first annotation we have is @test. Okay, @test. So annotation with this method will be considered as a test case. Okay, annotation with this method will be considered as test case. Annotation with this, method with this annotation. Okay, method with this annotation will be considered as test case. Okay, and the method which is having this @test annotation will appear in the result. Okay, will appear in the result. So this annotation is again method level as well as class level. Okay, as well as class level. Okay, means you can apply this annotation on the method as well as on the class. Okay, now these are the 2 points. So every annotation in the TestNG is method level as well as the every annotation is either method level or class level or maybe both. Okay, in the TestNG, but there are few annotations which are only method level. Okay, so we are going to discuss about them shortly. So first annotation we are looking at it is @test. So this annotation, okay, is class level as well as method level. So if you apply this annotation to only one method or maybe two method or maybe three methods of the class, those many methods will be considered as a test case and they will appear in a report of the TestNG. Okay, only those methods will appear in a report of the TestNG. Second thing, if you apply this annotation on the class level, then all the methods present inside that class will be considered as a test cases. Okay, so all of the methods will be considered as test cases and they will appear in the report of the TestNG. Okay, next annotation we have is @before test. Okay, before test. Now method with this annotation will be executed exactly before the test tag of TestNG.xml. Okay, very simple. Now this tag belongs to the TestNG.xml file. Okay, so TestNG.xml file is having particular structure where its parent tag will be a suite. Okay, inside one TestNG.xml file you can write only one suite tag. Only one suite tag. Okay, so only one suite tag is allowed inside the TestNG.xml. Inside that suite tag, we may have multiple test tags. Okay, we may have multiple test tag. Inside test tags, we may have multiple classes tags. Inside classes tags, we may have multiple class tags. Okay, this is the structure of TestNG.xml. Don't worry about it. We are going to discuss. We are going to have a separate separate hour on it, the TestNG.xml file. Okay, but you should understand that this method with this annotation will not execute before the method with this annotation. Okay, people usually get confused between these two. Okay, people consider that at the rate before test means it will execute it will execute each and every time the at the rate test annotations, those many at the rate test annotations we have, but this is not the case. This method with this annotation will execute just before the test tag of testng.xml. Okay, one test tag may have multiple classes, and multiple classes may have multiple at the rate test methods. Okay, so let me give you an example so that you can understand it in a better sense. Okay, so let me create one sample class over here, and I'm going to give name test annotations. Okay, this is the name of class that I have given. Now here in this class, so let me zoom this in so that you can see. Yeah, perfect. Now we have m1 method over here. So let me create a m1 method quickly. Perfect. And let me make this as public. Then again m2 method I'm going to create. This is again a public method. Now m3 method I'm going to create. This is again a public class. Or let me apply at the rate test annotation to this m1 at the rate before test to this method, and let us import all of these annotations. But you should take care of, while importing, you should import the TestNG annotations, because JUnit is also having, same annotations, or maybe some of the annotations are not there, but I'm going to create this. So there are two test cases in my class. M1 is the test case. Okay, so let me write down the message over here, and I'll call it as M1 test case. Okay, and this is again one test case, which I'll call M2 test case. So these are the two test cases. Why these are the two test cases? Because we have at the rate test annotation attached to M3 and M1. Now we just have seen the definition of at the rate test. Method with this annotation will be considered as test case. So M1 and M3 will be considered as test case. But what about this M2? So it will execute just before the test tag of testng.xml. So let me quickly convert this entire project into the TestNG. For that, you need to right click on the project, go to TestNG and convert to TestNG. Select this option. Now automatically this testng.xml file will be created. Okay, so I'll explain its syntax, and it is asking me to overwrite. So I'll say okay. Perfect. Now the testng.xml file is created over here. So let me open this file. So this is the testng.xml file. And as I have told you that one testng.xml file consists only one suite tag. Okay. And you can provide your own name to this suite tag. Okay. Let's say testing Shastra. This is the name of suite I'm going to provide over here. Inside this suite tag, we have test tag. Can you see this test tag over here? And we can also give the name to this test tag. So I'm giving it a name as regression. Okay, and this regression may have multiple test cases. Okay, this regression test may have multiple test cases. Now, where are the test cases located? They are located inside each and every individual classes. Okay, that is why we have to start with the classes tag. Inside this tag, we have to mention different classes. Okay, different classes. But right now we have only one class over here. Okay, perfect. So we are going to add this one tag. So if you observe the structure of this suite XML, you will find that it has only one suite tag. Okay, only one suite tag. Then we have only one test tag over here. If we want, we can add one more test tag here. Okay, if you want, we can add one more test tag over here, but we cannot add more than one switch tag here. Okay, it is not allowed to you. Can you see? It is throwing an error. Okay, and what is the error? If you hover on this particular error, then you will find that duplicate suits or multiple suits are not allowed in one TestNG.xml file. So this is the key point you need to understand in the TestNG.xml, that multiple suite tags are not allowed, and this is the hierarchy of the TestNG.xml file. Okay, because interviewer will ask you, tell me the hierarchy, or maybe rearrange the tags mentioned inside the suite XML. So what you need to tell is, first there should be a root tag called as suite. Okay, root tag is suite. Under this suite tag, root tag, we have multiple test tags. Okay, multiple test tags. So there can be a number of test tags inside this suite, on one suite. Okay, then under this test, we may have multiple classes tags. Okay, multiple classes tags. There can be n number of classes tags. Okay, so let me quickly write it down. Under this classes tag, we may have multiple class tags. Okay, this is the structure so far we have studied. Okay, gradually we will reveal the entire structure of the TestNG.xml file. Okay, this is not the only structure. Next, okay, under classes tag, we have multiple class tags. In a simple sense, this is the structure of TestNG.xml file. So this is the structure so far we are discussing. Okay, now we have only one test tag inside this suite XML. Okay, only one test tag. So method with this annotation, that is before test, will be executed just before the test. Can you see this? Just before the test. Okay, just before the test tag, and now we have only one test tag. So let's try to execute this one and let's observe. Okay, so we are getting an exception over here. So let me put some message over here so that we can observe the message. Okay, before test. Before test. Let me run this. Perfect. It is executed. Can you see the output log over here? Before test is executed first, then M1 test case executed, and then next M2 test case is executed. If you observe, this before test is executed only once and not twice. Okay, did you understood? So this before test annotation is dependent upon this test tag. So if I'm going to create one more test tag over here with name maybe sanity, and inside this, if I'm going to create again classes tag, okay, under this classes tag, let me write a class. Again, the same class I'm going to add, for example, test annotations. Okay, perfect. And let's execute this TestNG file one more time. Done. Can you see now? Before test is executed once, before test is executed twice over here. Why it is executed twice? Because we have two test tags over here. Okay, so this is the before test annotation. Next annotation we have is, and this is method level annotation. Okay, you cannot write it at class level. This is method level annotation. Perfect. Next annotation we have is @ after test. So method with this annotation will be executed. Method with this annotation will be executed exactly after every test tag of testng.xml. Okay, so when method with this annotation is going to execute after each and every test tag present inside the testng.xml. Okay, and this is also a method level annotation. Okay, you cannot apply this annotation to the class. So this is after test. So let me show you that how after test works. Let me create one more method over here, and that is m4, and make this public, and let us apply this annotation at the rate after test. Okay, inside this, let me write a message that is after test. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this test tag. Okay, so I'm going to put only one test over here. Perfect. Let us import this. Perfect. Now if I execute this testng.xml file, then after test will execute once. Okay, just after finishing the first test. So can you see before test is executed first, then m1 test case executed, m2 test case is executed, and after test this method is executed. But why we need this before test and after test annotations? Okay, so this is also a method level annotation. You cannot write it at the class level. So why these before test and after test are required? Okay, so let's say in your project you have certain requirement where after performing the regression test you need to reset something. Okay, let's say it may be a database connection, it may be something else. So after executing the entire test, entire suite, okay, there is something that you need to reset. Okay, so at that point you can write the resetting code inside the method with this annotation after test. Okay, so after executing the entire test and test cases present inside the test, okay, the resetting code is going to execute. Okay, let's say I want to open a browser just before executing the test cases, then browser opening code I will write inside a method which has @before test annotation. Very simple. Okay, so whatever handling code that we want to write for our test environment or maybe test cases, there are certain test cases which has certain prerequisites. Okay, so we have to fulfill the prerequisite first and then we need to execute the test case. So for such kind of situations, TestNG have given you the option of @before test as well as @after test. In the same sense, we have one more annotation, and that is before suite. Okay, before suite. So method with this annotation will be executed just before the suite, whatever you call, suite tag of testng.xml. Okay, so just before the suite tag of testng.xml, method with this annotation is going to execute. And this is again a method level annotation. You cannot write it at the class level. Okay, method level annotation. So if I write this annotation for any method, that method is going to invoke first by the TestNG. Why? Because the root tag is suite. Okay, root tag is suite. So let me write maybe m5 method over here, public, and let us give some message over here, before suite. Okay, and here I'm going to give this annotation to it, before suite. Perfect. So let's import it. That's again. Okay, now let us observe the execution and the flow of execution. So I'm going to execute this testng.xml file so that it will understand each and everything. Can you see over here, before suite is executed first, then before test is executed. So TestNG is following this file for execution. Okay, so it is going to read this tag first. So it is present over there, and to this suite, it is going to give this name, TestNG Shastra. Okay, under this suite, it is going to create this test, and its name is regression. Under this test, it is going to create certain test cases which are present inside this class. Okay, so test cases will be something which has @test annotation. Okay, methods having @test annotation. Okay, perfect. So before suite method is going to invoke before suite tag of the testng.xml. In the same sense, we have after suite tag, annotation, after suite annotation. Now method with this annotation will be executed just after the suite tag of testng.xml. Okay, and this is again a method level annotation. Method level annotation. Okay, so you cannot apply this annotation to the class again. Okay, so far we have seen only this annotation which can be applied to the class. So after method with this annotation will be executed after finishing the entire tests present inside the suite tag, entire test cases present in the classes tag. Okay, so after executing each and everything, this before suite is going to be executed. Let's say if you want to, close all the browser windows opened by the driver instance, you need to close all the database connections which are established by your test cases. You want to close some FTP server connection. So you can write such kind of code inside this before suite. So this will be a terminating kind of code, wind up kind of code you can write in the after suite. Let me write down the method for that. This is the public method again. Okay, after suite. Perfect. So let me import this. Perfect. Now this before suite and after suite, these methods are going to be executed only once. Okay, there is no chance to execute them multiple times. But before test and after test may execute multiple times based on the availability of test tags inside the testng.xml. Okay, so if there are two testng.xml tags, then before test and after test are going to execute twice. If there are three test tags, then before test and after test are going to be executed 3 times. But before suite and after suite will execute only once. Why? Because there is only one suite tag inside every testng.xml file. Okay. Next annotation we have is here @before method. Okay, @before method. So method with this annotation will be executed just before each and every @test method. Okay, or maybe test case. So this is again a method level annotation. Okay, this is again a method level annotation. You cannot apply this to the class. So before method with this annotation, before method will be executed before each and every test case present inside the classes. Okay, so whatever classes, whatever number of classes we have, whatever number of @test methods we have, before each and every such kind of methods, this annotation and this annotated method will be executed. So let me write down this method. Let me show you how it works. At the rate before method. So let me import this one. Perfect. And let us write a message over here. Before method. And here after suite. Perfect. Now if I execute this TestNG file, and can you see over here, before suite is executed first, before test is executed next, before method is executed, and then M1 test case is executed. Then again before method is executed, and then M2 test case is executed. And then after test is executed, and after suite is executed. So TestNG is clearly following the structure of this TestNG.xml file. So it is first reading the suite and then reading the test. Inside this test, it has classes. So it is starting with the first class. So it will jump into this class. So it will analyze this class. This class is having these two test cases over here. Okay, these are the two test cases it has, M1 and M3. And it is going to consider these two methods as a test case. And before and after these test cases, okay, these methods are going to be executed, before method and after method. Let's say, let me write one more method, that is after method. So next annotation we have is after method. At the rate after method. Let me import this. Perfect. So let us execute this code once again so that you will have an idea about the execution steps. So can you see over here, past two test cases, okay, M1 and M3. Why? Because TestNG is considering M1 and M3 as a test cases, and before suite is executed first, before test is executed, before method is executed. After that, M1 test case is executed, then again before method is executed, and then M2 test case is executed. After method is also executed, but we haven't given any message over here. After method. Perfect. Yeah. Now it has very clear messages. Can you see M1 test case? Test case is sandwiched between before method and after method. Okay. Each test case is sandwiched between before method and after method. So before method and after method before method and after method annotated methods will execute before at the rate test annotated methods. Every at the rate test annotated methods. Okay, then before method, and then we have after method. So let me write that down. After method, sorry, at the rate after method. Okay, at the rate test, before test, after test, before suite, after suite, before method, and after method. So these are the annotations that we have discussed so far. Okay, but these are not the all annotations of the TestNG. So we are going to discuss more annotations. Okay, so next annotation, let me write down about this method first. After method, description about this. Method with this annotation will be executed just after the at the rate test annotated method. After each at the rate test annotated method. Okay, did you get that? It's very easy, not complicated at all. Okay, next annotation we have is at the rate data provider. Data provider. Okay, this is the annotation that we have at the rate data provider. Now, why this annotation is used? Okay, so for data driven testing, this annotation is used. Okay, now let's try to understand what is @ data provider. Let's say that you have one test case, okay, and you have huge amount of test data to be tested against that particular test case. Okay, so if I talk manually, let's say you have 1,000 username and password pairs. Now you want to test your 1,000 username and passwords by putting them inside one login form. Okay, now if you do it manually, obviously it is going to take a lot of time. Then obviously you will get fed up of doing the same thing repeatedly. Okay, but here what TestNG provides you is the @ data provider annotation. As its name suggests, it is provider of the data. Okay, it is going to provide the test data to the test cases. Okay, now source of test data can be anything. Okay, source of test data can be anything, means your test data can reside in Excel files, your test data can reside in CSV files, your test data can reside in database, or maybe in a remote location. Okay, so where your test data can be wherever, anywhere, sorry, your test data can be anywhere. Now if I apply @ data provider annotation to some particular method, then this method will become data provider for the test cases. Okay, and we can use this data provider for any test case that we want. Okay, so this is the short description, because I'm not going to elaborate this topic over here because this is a separate topic and we are going to have a very good discussion about this in the coming future. But understand in a simple sense that uh, we have certain amount of test cases. Let's say these are the test cases that we have, and we have one data provider method. Okay, data provider. Now we can use this data provider method with any of these test cases, and this data provider can provide data to any test case we are going to write. Okay, in a simple sense. So same data provider can provide data to multiple test cases, or multiple data providers can be there who will be providing test data to the test cases. So there is a possibility to have multiple methods with this annotation in a same tag, sorry, same class. Okay, in a same class we can have more than one data provider. Okay, in a simple sense. So this is all about the data provider. Okay, and this is again a method level annotation. Okay, method level annotation, and method will this method with this, sorry, method with this annotation will provide data to test cases as per their choice. Okay, this is it, very simple, in a simple words. So I'm not going to elaborate this topic right over here because we are just having a look at TestNG annotations. So we will have a very good discussion about it in a coming future. Okay, perfect. So this is the data provider. So how you can write a data provider method. So let me show you how we can simply write it. So create any method with any name. Let's say public, and I can provide this annotation over here. Data provider, import this, and that's it. So this method will act as a data provider, and this method will be invoked by the TestNG when test cases requires a data. Okay, whenever a test case requires a data. Now you need to understand this, that this data provider can be used with the test cases only and not for the setup methods. So what are the setup methods we have? Before suite, before before test, before methods, and so on. Okay, these are the setup methods we have. You cannot use data provider with these methods, but you can use data provider with @test annotated methods only, means with the test cases only. Okay, next annotation we have is @before class. Okay, @before class. Method with this annotation will be executed just before each and every class tag in TestNG.xml. Okay, so if I'm going to provide this annotation to any method, then that method will be executed just before the class tag of the TestNG.xml. So let's see how it works. Okay, let me remove this one. Let me write this before class. Okay, before class. Let's import this one. Perfect. That's it. And let's give a message over here before class. Okay, so far we have only one class tag inside our TestNG.xml. Let us try to add one more class tag over here. Okay, so this is the login test cases class we have. Let me copy this name and let us put it over here. Okay, and the name is this one. Perfect. Now let us execute this file, TestNG.xml, and let's observe the output. Okay, so we are good to go, and we have this output over here. So can you see this before suite, before test, before test, and then before class is executed, then before method, then M1 test case, after method, before method, M2 test case, after method, and then after test, okay, and then after suite. So before class is executed over here. Can you see? Before class is executed over here. Now, so let me remove this one from here and let's add it some method over here. Public and test. Perfect. Okay. Now next annotation we have is, okay, this is again a method level annotation. Okay, next annotation we have is after class. Okay, next annotation we have is after class. So method with this annotation will be executed just after each and every, okay, class tag inside TestNG.xml. Okay, did you get this? It's very easy. Okay, so whichever class is invoked by the TestNG.xml, before that every class, the after class is going to be executed. So let me execute this file. Yeah, perfect. Now can you see over here before suite in on start, because this is the test case that we have included so far. Then before class we have, then before method we have, then M1 test case is there, and then after method is there, and then before method is again there, and then M2 test case is there, and then after method, and here we should have a after class. But oh, we haven't given any message in the after class, I guess. We haven't written the after class itself. So let us write the after class annotation for any method. So I'm going to create this method over here, and after class is the annotation that I'm going to provide this. Okay, let us import. Perfect. Done. So let me give some message over here. Okay, done. So let's execute this one more time and let's observe the output. Okay, before suite, then before test, then before class, then before method, then M1 test case, after method, then before method, M2 test case, after method, and after test and after suite. After class is executed, but we haven't given any message over here. Perfect. Okay, let us give some more message over here. And okay, so after class will execute this time. Yep, can you see? After class is executed over here, and then next test case is executed. Okay, second class is executed, and then we have this after suite over here. So let me quickly show you like this classes maybe, and inside this we have a class tag and name is maybe this. Oh, perfect. What is the problem? It is giving us test tag. Okay, classes in the class. Okay, it is not allowing to write it over here. Okay, perfect. Now let us execute it one more time and we can observe the output. Okay, perfect. Can you see after class is executed just after finishing the M2 test case over here? Okay. And that is all about the after class annotation. Okay, and this is again a method level annotation. Method level annotation. Okay. You cannot write this annotation at the class level. So these are the annotations that we have. Next annotation we have is parameter. Okay, parameter. Now why this annotation is used? So let's say you want to provide certain parameter to your test case. You want to provide certain parameter to your test case. Then how you can do that? So you can do this by applying this at the rate parameter annotation. Okay, so method with this annotation will accept parameters from TestNG.xml file. Okay, method with this annotation will accept parameter from TestNG.xml file. Okay, so what is going to happen over here? So let's say I want to provide certain parameter. Okay, I want to provide some parameter from TestNG.xml file to some particular test case. So in that case, I have a provision to provide parameter. Okay, so for that, we have one more tag over here, and that is parameter. And its name maybe roll number. Okay, and value maybe 1003. Okay, so this is the first parameter that we have created just before the test tag. So you should not provide it before the suite tag. Okay, so after the suite tag, we have to provide this parameter tag. It has two attributes, that is name and a value. So name is the identifier of the parameter and value is the actual value of the parameter that we want to pass. Okay, so let's say I want to pass this roll number to maybe this test case. Okay, to this test case. So for this test case, I need to give at the rate parameter annotation. Okay, at the rate parameter annotation. So that's it, but we don't want it from J commander. We want it from TestNG. Okay, it's from J command. Perfect. Now we need to mention that what kind of parameter we are expecting. So we need to give name over here. Sorry, parameters. It's not a parameter, but it's a parameters. Okay, it's my bad. So let's import this parameters from TestNG. Perfect. And here we need to mention what kind of parameters we are expecting. So maybe roll number. Sorry, roll number. So we have to give the name exactly same what we have given in the TestNG.xml. Perfect. Sorry. Yeah, perfect. Now we have to create a method in such a way that it should accept some parameter. Okay, this is M1 test case. Okay, and plus roll number. This is the variable name that we are going to print. So let us see what kind of parameter it is passing. So let me execute this test case over here. Perfect. So can you see M1 test case is executed with this parameter 1003. So if you want to create more parameters, then obviously you should include one more tag over here. Okay, maybe student name and value maybe Avinash or whatever you can specify over here. If you want to create one more parameter, you can create one more parameter from here. Okay, and here you can pass the name of parameter or the value of parameter and so on. Now if you want to use these parameters over here, then you should simply write this annotation at the rate parameters and not the parameter. Okay, parameters, parameters. Okay, so style of writing this parameters annotation is round bracket open and close, and then curly bracket open and close. Inside this curly bracket you can mention as many parameters as you want. So let's say student name. Okay, so this is the second parameter that I want to fetch from the testng.xml file. Okay, student name, and this is Avinash, let's say. And let's consider that you haven't given the second parameter name over here and you are just fetching one parameter and you are handling only one parameter. Then in that case, what will happen? So let's execute this test case. Perfect. Did you get that? You are facing an exception. So what is the exception? We should understand this. Okay. The exception is method M1 requires one parameters, but two were supplied in the @test annotation. Means you are providing two parameters in the @test annotation. Okay, here, and it is capable of accepting only one parameter. So this kind of exception you may face when you will forcefully try to provide two parameters, whereas your method is capable of handling only one parameter. Okay, so you should compulsorily create string argument over here. Okay, string data type, let's say student s name, for example. That's it. And then you can print, or maybe whatever action you want to perform with that name, you can perform. Student name is plus s name. Perfect. That's it. Now the second parameter is handled again. So if I execute this testng.xml file, now it will not throw any exception. That's it. Okay. And can you see student name is Avinash. So this is how you can pass a parameter to your test case from testng.xml file using parameters annotation. Whenever you have to write like parameters, then you should consider writing this curly bracket open and close. Okay, and inside these curly brackets you can mention as many parameters as you want for one test case. But okay, so this is how you can provide the parameter to your TestNG, at the rate test method. So these are few annotations of the TestNG. Okay, we have few more annotations. So this annotation is again method level. Okay, let me write method level annotation. Okay, then few more annotations we have, like listeners. Okay, but we are not going to discuss them right now. We will discuss them in coming sessions. Okay, so these are the annotations. So let me quickly revise all of them. TestNG annotations. Okay, first annotation we have is at the rate test annotation. If you apply this annotation to any method, that method will be considered as a test case. Okay, this is method level annotation as well as a class level annotation. Okay, next annotation we have is before test. Okay, so method with this annotation will be executed exactly before the test tag, each and every test tag. Okay, exactly before each and every test tag. Okay, test tag present in TestNG.xml. Okay, before each and every test tag present in the TestNG.xml. This is again a method level annotation. You can apply this annotation to only methods. Okay, then we have after test. Method with this annotation will be executed exactly after every test tag of TestNG.xml. Okay, this is again a method level annotation. Before suite, next annotation is before suite. Method with this annotation will be executed just before the suite tag of TestNG.xml, and one TestNG.xml file can have only one suite tag. That is why before suite method is going to execute only once. Okay, then we have after suite. Method with this annotation will be executed after, just after the suite tag of TestNG.xml file. This is again a method level annotation. Okay, then we have at the rate before method. Before method, okay, method with this annotation will be executed just before each and every at the rate test method. Okay, and this is again a method level annotation. Next we have is after method, at the rate after method. Method with this annotation will be executed just after each and every at the rate test annotated method. Okay, so method, whatever method is having at the rate test annotation, before that method only, after method is going to be executed. Okay, next we have is data provider. uh, for data driven testing we can use this annotation actually, and method with this annotation will be providing data to the test cases as per their choice. So as per their requirement, as per the requirement of the test cases, data provider method is going to provide data to the test cases. Okay, then we have before class. Method with this annotation will be executed just before each and every class tag in TestNG.xml. Okay, and this is again a method level annotation. Then we have after class. Method with this annotation will be executed just after each and every class tag present inside TestNG.xml. Again, this is a method level annotation. Next, we have parameters. Now, method with this annotation will accept parameters from TestNG.xml file. Okay, and those parameters will be percolated to the test methods. Okay, this is again a method level annotation. And next we have is listener. We are going to discuss them in a future. So there are two annotations we need to discuss, that is data provider and listeners. So we are going to discuss them in coming sessions. So this is all about the annotations of TestNG. Do you guys have any questions?